Good morning. This is the Maryland Environmental Service Board of Directors meeting, February 26th, 2026. It is 9:30 and we are going to go ahead and get started with our agenda. We do have a quorum present. And we are going to start with the Inspire Awards, and I believe we are starting with the test division.
So at 5:40 a.m. on November 19th, MES discovered an illegally dumped refrigerator jamming the trash compactor C6 at the BWI airport. Lynn Armley immediately took command, coordinating the assessment with Bernard Briscoe and planning the removal with Kevin Malzoli, Jeff Billings, and Neil Draper. She led the team to safely extract the refrigerator with a crane, preventing environmental harm and restoring the compactor to service. Lynn then conducted a thorough multi-agency investigation, working with airport operations, airlines, airport police, security, tenants, and reviewing camera footage, which resulting in identifying the responsible party and providing full documentation to MAA. The work saved BWI police significant investigative time and ensured proper enforcement. Her actions then fall into strengthened MES reputation, protected airport infrastructure, and improved compliance. The incident also led to airport-wide outreach and tenant training, and Lynn was invited to assist with onboarding new tenants to improve recycling and waste disposal practice. So this Inspire Award goes to her and her team. Thank you.
Don't mess with my dumpster.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks. So Dean Johnson, Kevin? Yes, thank you. Come on up. Which one do you want?
You guys,
You guys see it.
well, I'll go to the end.
Me, but- You should all be over.
I'm short, so.
Are we in there? Are we, that's close, you can.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you don't have to hang out, but you can if you want.
We've got work to do.
Yeah, of course. You got work to do, you get out.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
You know, everyone, oh, stop. Have a great.
Congratulations to all those that were involved with that. It sounds like that was an excellent save. So we do have the minutes from the January 22nd, 2026 meeting. Those were distributed. If there are any corrections or amendments or discussion items, please offer them now. And hearing none, we can approve by consent. And Dr. Glass, Executive Director's Report.
Thank you, Madam
Morning.
Chair. Morning. As you can see, I had I thought that, they were going to comp the registration if you're on a panel, but nah, they don't. So next week, no, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we have a 2-day utility conference in the water and wastewater industry that's associated with drinking water and wastewater practices. And it's a nice 2-day event that we have every spring. Really kicks off the calendar year. And I'm on a couple of panels, and we have representation from operations with Mr. Joe Wright serving on a panel on workforce development, and all of our colleagues at WSSC, DC Water, Northern Virginia, and Baltimore City. It's a good group. It's a good conference committee of approximately 40 people that put this on. So looking forward to it. And, that's my only expense this last. Next slide. And deputy won the month and had zero. Frugality at its best. And so lots of engagements. Highlight, I think will come up in a second, but we are on this slide, we can talk about it. We're in the middle of our budget hearings. So we've had our 2 capital budget hearings already, and we had no questions, and they went very smoothly. And Friday, tomorrow and Monday, we have our operating budget hearings in both the House and the Senate. But all told, so far, MES is under the radar, and everyone is happy with the work we're doing in the General Assembly. Next slide. Well, the highlight of this, which you'll hopefully see a picture next, is we hosted Green Logic is a company that Governor O'Malley is supporting, and we hosted Governor O'Malley. I got my selfie, so I'm mad that I have met Governor Glendening in the past, but I did not at that time have my my game up and ask for a selfie. So now I only have 3 Maryland governors, but hopefully I'll see him someday and try to get a picture with them. So when I retire, I can have a wall like Mr. Coleman of all the dignitaries I've had over time. But he was very gracious. He came in, he talked about trying to get rid of the blue catfish and using acid hydrolysis to create a fertilizer out of the blue catfish. And so that company is pitching. They're pitching at DNR. We supported them going to DNR, and also reaching out to Commerce because they're seeking funding. I let them know we don't fund things like that. So it was a great, pleasant conversation. Next slide. And he used to be my wife's boss at Social Security. So that was pretty awesome. Deputy attended the Maryland Quality Initiative and had an old home week with all her pals at SHA and MDTA, and also attended Taste of Eastern Shore with several of us, and had one-on-one conversations with RK&K, GFP, and Jacobs Engineering this month in the last 30 days. Next slide. I wanted to, and he probably doesn't know that, I hope he still didn't know I was going to do this, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford is serving on the Baltimore City Commission on Sustainability, nominated by the mayor. Did you leave? Yeah, Ms. Fuller's blocking you. That's a good thing. So anyway, and he's due to be sworn in on March 2nd. So congratulations to Mr. Ford on making that. And hopefully it will continue to help improve our relationship with Baltimore City. Next slide. Just so the board is aware, we continue on for our health and wellness events and our financial management events over time, but our 4th, I believe, health and wellness event had a registered dietitian, and we learned the difference between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist and the amount of education and training. And it was a great event, well attended in-house, and hopefully people are watching on the intranet that we have for these events. But she did a very good job and tweaked some of the things that we say. Creatine is good, and you only need to drink your body weight divided by 2 in ounces of water per day to stay hydrated. So that was a good rule of thumb to learn from her. Next slide. And so the long-term projects continue on. The board site visits this spring are scheduled. I hope you have holds on all your calendars. The PMP course, not going to strike it yet, but it is an active procurement. So it is on the street, and we are looking forward to getting that accomplished this year, hosting a firm that will come in and teach a project management professional course. That will be enough material for the 40 hours of required study time or learning time, and then require the staff that participate in that to take the exam within 90 days. And all other projects continue on. The walking trail is due, the Sean Coleman walking trail is due to be worked on in March. So hopefully the weather will break and the ice and snow will finally melt. And we will get our contractor, our landscaping contractor out there to make a nice path. So, and I wanted to keep it short because there's a lot of items, a lot of ad hoc things on. Oh, the board site visits, there you go. So we have the dates on hold, at least. Okay, and that should be it. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Dr. Glass, any questions?
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Madam
hearing none, I believe it's the birthday boy's turn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly update the board on our progress towards the fiscal 28 to 32 strategic plan. And I just have one slide and I'm gonna go pretty quickly. We have met 3 times. One of them was really kind of an organizational meeting, so substantively twice. We approved a steering committee charter. The steering committee is made up of representatives from each of the groups, so the operating groups and then the administrative groups. We've reviewed the fiscal 23 to 27, the existing plan. We are currently doing a deep dive on all the KPIs. And we're preparing right now to get into the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis for the, that'll guide the next plan. Beyond that, as far as next steps are concerned, we're going to be looking at obviously the SWOT analysis and also the strategic framework development for the new plan. And we're, as far as I'm concerned, we're pretty much on schedule, but we're taking a much more deliberative approach and trying to get, much more feedback and buy-in from the organization, all levels of the organization, which is, much different than we were able to do during the last strategic plan development cycle. And that pretty much does it from my end. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Mr. Tosi. We have the new business report to review. There is one slide of these items this month. So if you could take a moment and review those items and feel free to offer any comments or questions for discussion. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the financial report. Mr. Patel.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everybody is saying that they will be brief, so I'll try to be brief. So here are our bar graphs, which represents total labor. The billable labor is fiscal year 25, 26, and the budget. As you can see that the fiscal year 26 actual is now 25.7 million, which is 1.5 million more than the same time last fiscal year, which is a very good news. We usually prepare the budget based on 4% expected increase in billable labor. So the budgeted labor is 25.2 million. I'm glad to report that our fiscal year 26 actual is 539,000 over the budgeted billable labor. So the increase in billable labor has been steady. Of course, we are into 7 months, 5 more months to go, but so far the trend is very good. Next one. So here we are showing fiscal year 26 versus fiscal year 25 for 7 months ending January 2026. And as I explained in the previous slide, our labor sales are 1.5 million more than the last year. The good news is the billable hours are much higher also. So as of January, our billable hours are 25,682 hours more than the last year. Another significant difference is in the overhead recovery, because the more billable labor, we get the more overhead recovery. Fringe variance is may fluctuate. We see that, it's only $33,000 difference, but the fringe is, we do not plan on having excess fringe variance. So that's not of a concern, but it's 33,000 right now. And the increase in net assets is about 420,000 over last year. A significant increase is in revenues. The revenues are up this year by $13.3 million. That revenue includes billable labor and a lot of contractual services. So a lot of that increase will be paid to our contractors, which is the private entity. So when we increase the revenues, they benefit also. Next slide. And this is our budget versus actual. Based on financial results as of January 2026, we project the full year where we're gonna wind up. Of course, this projection is based on the history until January. Unpredictable expenses may occur. I know the billable labor decrease may occur, but as shown here on this slide, our full year estimate is $7.6 million in net earnings. We always budget around 4.55 million, but so far the trend shows that we may have 7.6 million. But as I mentioned to you, that there are a couple of expected expenditures coming up. The revenues has increased so significantly. We have to have a 5% contingency fund. So because of the significant increase in revenues, we will have to contribute some of this to contingency fund. The another important thing to note is that our retirees' health insurance is under review, and we intend to fund 100% of the retirees' health insurance. So when the actuarial report comes up, then we will know. But by June, we will make it up 100%. So even though right now the earnings are very well, it is subject to change. The biggest difference that's contributing there is the overhead expense. The overhead expense was budgeted at $17.9 million. We go flat 4% increase on all the overhead expenses. The actual is trending low. So we are expecting at this rate, it will be 15.2 million, which is a substantial savings from the budget, 2.7 million. It may change, but right now the trend looks good that the overhead expenses are trending low. So the bottom line is the net earnings are expected at 7.6 million as of January, and we still have 5 more months to go. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer that.
Question. On page 5, Rick material, the statement of that position. There's an item under the assets called note receivable. It's under other assets. I was wondering what that was for.
Notes receivables are, I don't know the exact, what was the detail for it, but it is just like a receivables for accounts receivable. If it is, I have to look into that, but it's probably some kind of a receivables, but I had to get back to that, what's the notes receivables on that.
I mean, my reaction when I saw it was, are we lending money to someone?
No, we are not lending money to anyone. It's probably, is some kind of a document, that is, instead of an invoice, that we sent it to, client, but I had to find out exactly which, document and which company it is for. Okay. We're not lending money to anybody.
Say that again.
I'm not even authorized to lend money. We have to be self-sufficient. I guess there are no more questions. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, I'm gonna take over this for, Mr. Patel. He'll tag team with me, but, 2 months ago, the board directed us to take a, gradualism, approach. And I had not been involved deeply with the Darlington report or with the plan model. And I took, an afternoon and went through, the model and variations, from finance. And I hope you all had the opportunity to look at the changes, but, next slide. Thank you. So, in reviewing the history and the time frame for when MES, took over ownership and the history. So I wanted to point out to the board that in 2011, MES forgave an historical loan of $74,500 that it was associated with the acquirement of the facility and upgrades. Harford County did also provide, an equivalent amount to help with, the arrearage. And I also want to point out and just state, MES, as you all have been, involved with us for some time and on the board, MES is an actual, based organization. So when I say that, I'm saying from an accounting perspective, each project we have stands on its own merits and is meant to be based on the actual time that MES staff work on that project and the actual materials. We charge fringe and overhead. And if you're familiar with how, engineering consulting firms and construction firms bill, we're at between 105% and 111% based on the individual group overhead rate. So when we have hours worked by our staff, their salaries are charged at their rate, and then we multiply by overhead and fringe, okay? A consulting firm, an engineering firm, generally that's more 200%, or 2 times whatever the salary rate is for their employee. That's just a backdrop. So I focused on redoing the numbers with gradualism, with all the resources that are there, and to make sure that we also can meet our requirement as we see it being promulgated by MDE to ensure that there is no detectable PFAS in the drinking water for this community. So we are still committed, but the adjustment, as you've seen the cost drop, is that I left in the $850,000 engineer's estimate on what it would cost and the repayment of that loan, 50% of which will be forgiven. But in the next 5 years of this plan, we utilize the current surplus in the fund for this project and the delta that's created by increasing by approximately 3% per year the cost to the community. So next slide, that'll be on the next slide. So wanted to address your expectations that were clear 2 months ago. Wanted to provide the smoothest possible transition, and we did multiple models, multiple spreadsheets with I in finance, particularly going through the models, going through every cost that for communities a cost, for us as revenue, and the expenses. And I also provided a challenge to engineering and water wastewater to self-perform as much as we possibly can. I do not have final numbers of how that $850,000 cost is going to be reduced over the next 5 years from the fact that let me backtrack 1 second. So I have a professional engineering license, so I have a stamp that I can stamp a design. Do I do it on any regular basis? Of course I don't. We have engineers that are licensed engineers. We generally do not stamp very many designs. We have over the last 6 years I've been here, started doing smaller projects, smaller stormwater projects in particular that we have the expertise to do. So with this project, we are going to evaluate if we can self-perform that design. It is a very, from an engineering perspective, simple piping and granular activated carbon treatment system. So for the engineers on staff, it is not a full plant. It is not full redesign of some of our plants that are $25 million plants. So taking that approach and doing some pencil sharpening, and also with hopefully a lower cost for design and construction, hopefully MDE, and I've had conversations with the director of water in this intervening 2 months. Hopefully we can get the cost down to where the capital cost is fully recovered from MDE. So I left it in the model. However, I have no intention to have the cost of this design and construction be $850,000. And I'm confident in that. And unlike before, 2 months ago, I am engaged and will stay involved with this project until this is done. And so that, I think that, and we've researched, we're continuing to talk about other grants opportunities, not just with MDA, but with USDA for rural water. And we will do our best to optimize and perform value engineering of the project. Next slide. So you can see with this, no PFAS removal. And I did this to show that there's an accumulation on the bottom line of net earnings simply by having a 3% increase in the water usage rate and the fixed fee. To show you that if we do not treat PFAS and we do go with a slight increase that is at the current consumer price index, or this is actually below the current consumer price index to the community, we accumulate $54,000 over the 5-year plan starting next fiscal year. Next slide. My recommendation is that we, of course, move forward and treat the PFAS. And you see there is a slight accumulation over the first couple of years, including this one. I believe the account, if you look at your board package, has about $18,000 in it today. We would have a slight increase with the increase we give. And then the year to year, we would start showing some losses if the numbers remain the same and we cannot value engineer and we do have to go with the $850,000. In that scenario, when the next 5-year plan would be coming in before you in 2031, in FY31, we would have to have something closer to what we had before with a larger increase to the community. But the net, with a lot of pencil sharpening, I'm sad that Ms. Phillip can't be here. Maybe she can watch it later. You see that we accumulate and then we burn the cumulative net earnings over the 5-year period. But we do provide treated drinking water midway through FY27, latest 28, and we meet the deadline provided by MDE so far for PFAS removal. There have been things at the federal level that could possibly end up pushing this back. I think it is in the best interest of MES to move forward and to just do this in as economical a fashion as possible and treat the water now. So I believe that's my last slide. So with that, we're not asking, Ms. Fuller schooled me last week, we're not asking for you to vote at this time. We're just asking to answer any questions you may have with this model. We would present this scenario to the community. And then once we have the public comment from the community, we would come back to the board before July 1 to ask for you to move forward, should there be no change in the position after the public hearings. And with that, Mr. Patel and I are ready to answer any questions, and I do have engineers in the room that can back me up. engineers and MacGyvers that can back me up if necessary.
So, question.
Yes.
What would be the timetable for, if this plan is adopted, what would be the timetable for implementing PFAS?
It would be on an as soon as possible basis. Self-performing, we might be able to order the equipment and get construction underway in the next fiscal year. So the initial cost estimates that I'm getting that are not written down, they're just from the staff that are words. We're talking about a reduction in cost of 1 to 8. So, if it is $100,000 to order the equipment, pay our staff to do the work and make the change, and we'll move forward with that. And, post haste. Thank you, Madam
Any other
Chair.
questions? Mhm. Yes, Dr. Glass.
No, I was just saying, thank you. We don't have any other questions in the room, but I don't, if any board members are online, but thank you for letting me report that, and we'll move forward.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from board members online? Okay, I think we're ready to go with that at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll bring it back to you in a few months.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good morning, Dr. Gross, Human Resources Report.
Good morning and good morning, everyone. We are here, let's start by talking about our January close. We closed the month of January with an MES only vacancy rate of 3.56. That is reflective of welcoming 5 new hires and offboarding 15, which netted us a workforce growth for the month of January of -7. As of last week, February 18th, our MES only vacancy rate has moved up to 4.52. That is reflective in part of many of the terms that were just mentioned as where we closed in January, as well as some additional terms in February. It is also reflective of having to push back some of our new hires, several of our new hires. We've had to push back each week as a result of some challenges we've been having through the pre-screen vendors, which we've been using, and rest assured, I have been working very diligently with them to make sure that we move forward with through the issues that they have. In spite of that, we don't use those issues as justification. The team is still being diligent and looking at ways to work around, still moving things forward in the way we need them to move so that we can get people in and close out the requisitions. Next slide, please. What you see here is the head count broken down by group as of February the 18th. Next slide, please. This refers to our temporary staff, which encapsulates our interns, fellows, and co-ops. The summer 2026 internship posting has been up or had been up for a little bit over a month, as well as the environmental specialist. The post is closed and the team is still working through the applications. We received 256 applications for the summer internship, of which we've already had the opportunity to phone screen or phone interview 51. And we have about another 10 that will be phone interviewing. And then we'll narrow that group down to a specific number or a set number of applicants that we will be interviewed. That will be in relation to how many interns are needed by the agency overall. And we anticipate those interviews starting early to mid-March. Next slide, please. February has been a busy month for recruitment events. So thank you to everyone who's been providing support by coming out to those and assisting Ms. Robles and attending as well. Of the events that we've had, we've continued the trend where just about 50% are also diversity events. And just for those who may not know, diversity events for MES is not specific to just race, age, and gender, but it also includes things like veteran status and socioeconomic communities. And I believe that may be our final slide. Yes, okay. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually just went to the website for MES and I saw that you have 3 openings in the executive staff level, Dr. Glass. There's 3 managing directors that either resigned or retired in the last 6 months. Is there a plan to backfill those? Because that is a huge loss of institutional knowledge that just went out the door. Was there a plan to create some sort of transition or even passing of knowledge before people are retiring?
So there is a succession plan. I'll share it, reshare it with the board if you like. Well, I'll just reshare it with you. There is a person identified for every chief even. So for all the way down to the chief rank, there's always a person identified to act. Don't always select a person to act. In this case, EDR has an acting. Ms. Oseroff is at the front of the table. We did have a recruitment process for that position. Then Ms. Dolliner left through retirement. And it's not that the recruitment process failed. I can talk with the board members individually with that logic. And then the other 2 are more recent, and they are because of, well, there is an acting person for a test. Ms. Condor is at the table. And right now, we have 3 division chiefs, one of whom is acting in water and wastewater. And we're confident in what they're doing. Deputy is taking a more administrative role with that. And as you can see with my work on Darlington, I'm taking a more active role in the technical aspects of water and wastewater in support of the team through this process. So happy to talk to the board members offline about personnel issues, but yes, we are functioning well, even though we have lost some institutional knowledge. 2 of the staff that left were long-serving, but not necessarily long-serving in that rank. And one of them was not long-serving in MES, and so there wasn't a significant amount of institutional knowledge from MES that's left in that one. But happy to talk offline. I was, to be honest, I was on leave this last week, and I've had evening events every day, so I haven't had a chance to do my normal monthly call with all of you. But I will get on it, and I will call you within the next week.
So Dr. Glass, if I may, you're a very busy man. I don't think you owe each of us a call, but I'm going to ask Ms. Carroll if it's okay to have a closed session on personnel matters so you can discuss it with the full board and not individual board members. So we have a understanding of what's going on at the executive level and why there's been such a huge turnover in the past 6 months. I think the board needs to know that, and not individually, but as a whole, and maybe that's something that needs to be discussed under personnel issues in closed session. Just a thought out, Madam Chair, as well.
I mean, that certainly is appropriate for a closed session.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Gross? Okay, hearing none, let's move into the best update. Ms. Hers?
Thank you.
Good morning.
How are you guys? Good morning. Can I go to the first slide? Yes. So goal 1 for safety. I'm happy to report that all of the bulleted items are either on track or in progress. Just a couple of quick highlights. All of the operating groups and the MES sites have completed their fall evacuation drills, and they are planning for their spring drills already. Second bullet was we have updated 60% of our assigned personnel have completed and passed the hazard communication training as of February, and groups are working with the remaining 40% for completion. The facility managers have identified 341 employees that are being assigned the confined space training, which is the third bullet. This is being done in conjunction with our safety and environmental compliance group, and they are working diligently to ensure completion of the confined space training. Next slide. In terms of the internship program, we have approximately, and this may conflict with Dr. Gross's slide if she had something up there on the applicants, but as of yesterday, I have information that says we had 266 applicants apply. And I know that each one of the operating groups has been working with HR to indicate the number of interns that they expect to hire this year. We are on track for our 6 health and wellness events throughout the year. Dr. Glass indicated earlier that we had a dietitianist, that's a hard word for me to say this morning, who visited headquarters on February 17th. We also have 2 additional events scheduled, one in April, which is a power walk, and a topic to be determined in June. We also have been doing very well in terms of progress on selecting non-supervisory employees to present training. EDR is 100% complete on their training targets. TESS is at 80% right now. Water wastewater is at 70%. Environmental operations is at 80%. Currently show admin at 50%, and finance is at 10%. Finance also has a lower number of staff, so they don't actually have 10 non-supervisory staff that could do the training. I just wanted to make you all aware of that. We do have additional 9 trainings that are scheduled, 4 in March, 4 in April, and 1 additional training in May. We are complete on the MES target for completing cybersecurity training. Training was distributed in October, and IT monitored it closely to ensure the completion and to continue to have 100% compliance on this goal. All new hires who receive laptops and desktops are assigned the training to be completed within 3 weeks of their start date. Next slide. All right. I'm happy to report that as of February, that first bullet point there, in terms of a target of meeting 20% of event expenditures, will go to businesses owned by people of color, LGBTQ plus individuals, veterans, and people with disabilities. We are currently at 29% of expenditures based on Employee Engagement Committee and DEI collaborative events. 100% of our new managers are supervisors and employees with hiring authority, have been assigned the Equal Employee Opportunity Overview training within 6 months of their hire. The last training was held on February 18th, and we currently stand at an 85% completion rate. The last one related to DEI events, it's a collaborative, and we work with each site to try to identify additional events that can be hosted outside of the headquarters. We do have an upcoming, actually, I think it occurred yesterday, so or 2 days ago. I'm not sure how it went because I've been in California for the last couple of days. But Water Wastewater was scheduled to hold their Black History Month event at Dorsey Run and at MCI on February 24th. EDR has an event planned at Cox Creek on April 15th. TESS has an event at BWI on March 26th. And Environmental Operations is continuing to work with Eco Latinos for a site visit and event at a date to still be determined. Next slide. We are on track for our customer and community service events. I reported previously on I believe, the polar plunge, but I will repeat some of the stuff that, or actually, I think that was at the all hands meeting, not in front of you guys, so I apologize for that. In quarter 1, we had a school supply drive and a pet supply drive. Quarter 2, we did Toys for Tots, and that included 5, actually, I think it was more than 5 bikes, but bikes that were built by the executive staff during a team building event. We also did a winter clothing drive that stretched beyond just the central parts of Maryland. We also had people contributing at our remote locations in the Eastern Shore and Western Maryland, and had a tremendous contribution to the Maryland Charity Campaign. We had 3 participants in the Maryland State Police Polar Bear Plunge for Special Olympics, and we currently have a winter food drive ongoing. I'm happy to report that we have achieved completion for the beating and exceeding the Maryland Charity Campaign goal. We came in at 112% of our target as of 12/17, with a total of just over 20 or nearly 21,000 donated from employees from MES. Next slide. So this is one of the first bullet is one of the areas that we still need attention, focused on. We have scheduled upcoming webinar events and information sessions. Each one of our operating groups is intended to provide a technical session on things that impact our operations for our clients. EDR has a webinar scheduled on harmful algal blooms, which is scheduled for March 17th. On May 5th, we have a webinar on PFAS being hosted by Water Wastewater. TESS has not determined a date yet. However, they have picked their topic, which is stormwater monitoring, sampling, and reporting. The presentation, I believe, is complete, and we're just working on scheduling a date through our communications group. The environmental operations group is working on their presentation, which will be centered, I believe, on organic composting. The second bullet there, in terms of the educational event focused on Endangered Species Day, which is the 3rd Friday of May, is in progress. EDR is taking point on this event, and they're emphasizing education on bald eagles and other Maryland species. We had the completion of our America Recycles Day back in November, so that goal was met back in the fall. Next slide. Administrative enhancements. So we have 5 sub-goals here, one of which, the first bullet there, still needs attention. We're approximately at 50%, around 50% complete. Water and wastewater and finances onboarding checklists are complete. The EDR checklist will be finalized for submittal this week. Admin's departmental lists are under review, and both TESS and environmental operations onboarding checklists are under development. So we'll be working and monitoring that closely to ensure that we meet the target. As Mr. Patel indicated earlier, we have been again looking at our revenue through billable sales with the goal of a 4% year-over-year increase. The goal has consistently been maintained, with the lowest reported being in August of this past year at 4.49%, and the highest billable labor sales in December at 6.57%. MES is also on track to maintain a 4% average quarterly vacancy rate. We have had an increase in vacancies in the last couple of weeks, or last month or so, as was indicated in Dr. Gross's report earlier in the meeting. We have completed our career fair events at the local schools. There was that long list that also was shared by Dr. Gross. I want to just point out that while we met this goal, I believe back in October, we are continuing, each one of the groups is continuing to attend these events to continue to do outreach and look for additional folks to bring on board at MES. So we are, while it is complete, it is still an active goal within MES. And the last bullet there is in progress, where we have group leadership visiting each one, or at least one of their sites each month. So far, most of our groups are actually maintaining at least 2 visits on average to sites each month. So we will continue to track that, and I don't expect it not to remain in progress and on track. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Question.
Sure.
Goal 5, you listed some webinars.
Yes.
Can those be made available to the board members?
It's to participate in while they are live.
Whatever is
Yes.
best.
Yeah,
Yes, we can.
Or if you record it, can it?
Well,
get
they're all
there?
recorded, but
Okay.
you can, if you can't participate live, then we'll have,
All right, that'd be great. Thank you.
yeah.
we can get you access to our intranet to see all of our programs.
Yeah, the first one, and for a reminder, the first one will be coming up on March 17th. So we will make sure that we send out an invitation to the board members as well.
Any other questions? Ms. Joes?
Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Coleman asked what I was going to ask, if it would be available to the board members. In your last slide, Ms. Hertz, you showed group leadership visits. Who's in the group leadership? Does that entail also Dr. Glass and you making leadership visits to sites?
I would say typically it is the managing director and their division chiefs. And in some cases, depending on the additional levels of leadership, we may have like regional supervisors that are also going around, and they probably go around more frequently than the division chiefs and the managing directors. I have also made several trips in the past 7 or 8 months to sites and have been introduced to the staff. Dr. Glass, I believe, also has made some trips to some of the sites. So typically this is focused on making sure that the operating group managing directors and the division chiefs are getting out and showing support for the folks. We are a very decentralized organization, so it's important that we have leadership going out and understanding the conditions at the sites and making sure that they're available to provide additional support and attention to areas where they're needed. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, well, we can move on to procurement, and I do believe Mr. Graham is going to present to us today. We have 9 items for consideration. Good morning.
All right, the first item is from the Environmental Operations Group. Project name is the Brown Station Road Landfill Street Sweeping Project. It was procured by competitive sealed bid. Awarded to Quiet Sweep, and the amount of $340,115.05. The MBE goal was 5%.
Okay, is there a motion to move procurement item number 1 to the floor? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approval of procurement item number 1, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Number 2.
To the technical, the group is for, technical and environmental services group. The project is for the State Highway Administration, EISD Task 16, MDOT, State Highway Administration, Traffic Data Management Support. This was procured by GIS, SBR shortlist. It was awarded to Synergy Systems and Services, Inc. in the amount of $448,860.60 with the MBE goal of 34.5%.
Okay, is there a motion for procurement item number 2?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments about procurement item number 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of procurement item number 2, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Number 3.
All right. The group is for the technical and environmental services group. The project name is the Engineering Services for Watershed Studies. The procurement method is a request for proposal. The estimate for this project is $1,500,000, $0. And the MBE goal is 18%.
Is there a motion for approval of procurement item number 3?
I have a question. We were requesting for proposals. We know what the estimated amount is. In the past, we've had a discussion about how do we keep the estimate from everybody else who's going to make the bid.
Well, the pricing is not disclosed to the active bidders, so it's not disclosed. It's just the estimate with the MES, so it's not disclosed.
And this is a request for proposal, so it's not based on pricing, it's based on the technical. So it's not, so it's a scored review on the technical. So it's not a bid where it's the lowest bidder. So regardless if they know the price, what weighs heavy is the technical piece of what they're gonna present to us in the RFP.
I believe the question really is, in this case, we are saying it's $1.5 million, so the bidders know that's our budget, and they'll try to come closer to 1.5 million.
Yeah, but it's not
It's
a-
competitive, so
And
if
it's
people
not,
come closer to the highest mark, there is still somebody who's going to be lower than that, and that's how the selection happens.
So they don't get to see what we're looking at now.
No. Right, pricing wise, they don't see the pricing.
this is public.
But it's public, they can.
This is public, so they can see it, but it's, the reason why we're putting the budget here, because for this pre-solicitation, it might be, again, it could be a little bit more or less, right? So, but again, for this solicitation, it's a request for proposal, so the pricing is not the main factor in here. It's what they're gonna provide to us from a technical perspective. So even if the price is good and they're whatever the requirements are for this, they probably won't get the proposal if they're not what we need for the project.
So on these construction bids, the estimates are based on the engineer's public cost estimates, which are known. Basically, they're all the same takeaways that the firms that would be bidding on would be looking at anyway. It's not a secret. Really, what ends up being the determining factor is what kind of margin those companies want to play with when they're bidding, because new costs are pretty well set. engineers find out stuff. And I do understand that cost is not the only thing. It is something to consider. Okay.
Is your question fully answered, Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to move procurement item number 3 forward?
Madam Chair, I move the approval of item number 3.
Second?
Second.
Second it.
Excellent. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, I have a question. How long will the contract be?
The 3 year.
I think the initial 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's initially 3 years. Or,
You wanna get back?
yeah, you actually.
Get back.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of moving procurement item number 3 forward, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4.
Next one is for the group, Technical and Environmental Services Group. This project is for the Maryland Energy Administration, Building Energy Performance Standards, Technical Assistance Pilot Program. The procurement method was a request for proposal. The estimated cost is $1,900,000, and the MBE goal is 25%.
Okay, entertaining a motion for procurement item number 4.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments about number 4?
Same question. What do we know what the term of this contract will be?
This one, I'll have to get back to you.
Any other questions? Comments? Discussion? All those in favor of moving procurement item number 4 forward, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Number 5.
Number 5 is for the Environmental Operations Group. Project name is the Landfill Sale C2 Reconstruction Project. This is going to be a competitive sealed bid. The estimated cost is $19,910,705, and the ME goal for this project will be 28%.
Is there a motion for number 5?
I move approval of item 5.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
How do you determine the MBE goals? It changes from one activity to another, from one of the items to another. How is that determined? If we don't have any proposals yet.
I can answer that particular project. So we break the work down by division. We break the work down by division, right? So you have earth moving, you have site improvements, you have other construction elements of the divisions. There's a cost estimate on that. We then do a search by not SIC code, but
NAICS code.
NAICS code. We do a search by NAICS code for available MDOT certified firms that can do that work. And then each portion of that percentage of cost, we look at what's available for subcontracting opportunities. And that will roll up into a percentage overall on the total estimated cost on what we think we can contribute for MBE participation. We then present that to Mr. Barnes. He reviews it. He'll either up or down, depending on his review. and then we come to a final determination.
Have you had a chance to compare what you put down as the goal and what you actually get?
Back in this wages, so Mr. Barnes goes through the process of compliance with that target. And every year we have to report to the governor's office, exactly what we attain. And so I have the record, I'll show you when we move on, but we focus on that attainment as well as what's.
Don't the bidders actually have to put their
And they-
proposed MVEs in their bid?
And they have to comply with whatever they propose if they're.
One thing I didn't make clear is when we're looking at that MDOT search, we're comparing it to the overall number of firms by NACE code. The percentage, so that the same percentage of contractors that are in that NACE code that are MVEs that we use as a goal for that total. So it's against the total number of firms versus the MVE firms that are capable of doing that work. And then just work it down each by each division.
I probably heard this before and forgot. Because it seems so, once you start telling me, I get some information. I'm saying, okay, but it's okay because I'd rather ask for it twice than not at all.
Sure. And just to correct one minor thing, the MBE program has been moved out of the Department of Transportation and now has its own department as of December 25. So now it's the Department of DOSIM, but I can't remember what the acronym is. But it's equity and something. I'll look it up.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of moving procurement item number 5 forward, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 6.
Number 6 is for the Technical and Environmental Services Group. The project name is Maryland Energy Administration Home Energy Rebate Program. This was also procured as a request proposal project. It's going to be awarded to JNC Partners INC, doing business as Everblue. The original cost not to exceed 15.351 million. And the change order is going to be 51.637 million, with the revised contract amount to not to exceed 66.988 million.
Is there a motion to move number 6 forward?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a question on this.
Yes.
Sorry, was there somebody in the room?
No, go ahead.
So there's quite a jump here on the change order here, and I'm wondering if what it's related to, and I'm could speculate that it might be related to the release of the funds. I know that these funds have been challenging for states to get released from federal government. And then I'm also wondering if there's a plan to increase MBE participation in this contract on the implementation team portion.
So I'll answer that. So the first portion, the initial one is, was based on the construction and the MBE was based on that. This change order is, based on the rebate distribution, which is going to be, administered by the contractor. We'll be getting MEA will be providing us, MES, a cash advance to ensure that we, distribute that to the contractor as he receive rebate applications.
And the second part?
I'm sorry, what was the answer to the first part?
The first part is the initial RFP was based on the construction part, so that the gold is only based on that portion only. The change order is based on, and I think this is the second part, question, the change order is based on the rebate distribution that the contractor is going to administer.
Doesn't make any sense to me. When you say construction part, what do you mean by that? I mean, this is an energy efficiency program that usually includes like home audits and then a rebate distribution, like you had said. I'm confused as to what the construction part would be.
So, initially, and I'll get back to you on the first, part of it. So, and Sandy probably has more input on this, but I'll get more specific on the initial, construction part of it and what that entails. But to my understanding, that's the reason why the goal is remaining the same.
Let's see what Sandy is saying.
Charts.
Thank you. We will confirm this. However, I believe that what we're trying to convey is that the original 15 million was focused on the applications for what they wanted to application coordination for this funding. So it was more like the proposals came in, the coordination of reviewing all of those proposals and then determining the need. And then as Ms. Condra was indicating, the additional change order is to make sure that the funding that was associated with that first portion of this effort is being given to the people that were selected for their projects. And we will definitely confirm this and get it back to you, but it's almost like it is a grant program or a rebate program where there is a process where you have to vet the folks that are applying for the rebates, and then you have to have somebody that is able to get the funding to the projects that were selected. And so the larger amount of money is the process of getting the funding out to achieve those proposed projects. But we will confirm and get back to the board with the logistics and a more thorough answer for you.
That's really helpful. And I think just one other question, you may not know this today, but so is this 51 million or 51.6 million to serve a pipeline in 2026, or is this also 2027 funding, or should we expect some additional requests here later for the 27 program? And if you don't know the answer today, that's totally fine. But
I don't know the answer today. Maybe, I don't know if Ms. Condra does. I do know that for this particular piece of it, as is indicated on the slide, the term is expected to last for at least another 5 years. So I assume that is inclusive of at least the projects that have already been selected, and it may include additional applications that come in, but we'll confirm that too.
yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to hear the update there. I mean, it seems like to take 5 years to, get $51 million of rebates seems bizarre and unusual, but I'd be interested to hear, what you all come back with how, those funds are expected to go, because I'm working on a similar program to this in a few other states. And I know there's been a challenging side of getting dollars out of the federal government for it. And I know it's been coming in spurts, but I do know it's supposed to continue for several more years, and I'm glad to see it happening, but I just was curious about some of the details here.
Yeah, we will definitely get back to you. Thank you. And is there anything else that we didn't answer? Did that satisfy your questions?
And for now, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I had a follow-up question. So that,
Yes.
Mr. Bouts, thanks for asking some of those questions. The 51.6 million, according to Ms. Hertz, is the rebate that's going to be offered to customers or whoever has applied. And the original contract came to the board last August. what is the cost of administering? The 51 million is the grant that's been approved. What is the cost that JCN Partners is charging to administer or facilitate the spending of this grant? Or is that included in the 51.6 million? Is that fully grant money, and did we approve the administration part earlier? I'm trying to understand what the 51.6 million entails. Is it just the grant money?
That's the grants. Those are just for the rebates, the amount, the change order amount is just for the rebates.
So what's the fee to administer that, to help process?
We
Does
we will
There's a
get that back.
20%, there's a 20% portion for the implementation team.
And there is no MB participation required at all?
It's not for the change order, because it's just distributing the rebates throughout the life of the contract.
Follow-up question, since we're waiting on some follow-up back on this, do we table this, Madam Chair, or do we still vote on this?
That's really up to the board. Is this time sensitive would be my question to the staff.
I think we can, at this time, I know that, we haven't started distributing we haven't reached that portion yet. We were just presenting to the board, so I don't believe that it's really time sensitive at this point, and we can probably, table it for next month.
Okay, who made the original motion?
I think it was me, Madam Chair.
Okay, so
Brendan.
if you're interested in tabling this, Mr. Botts, you could withdraw your motion.
To be honest with you, Madam Chair, I'm kind of indifferent either way. But if tabling it and coming back next month to have a little more discussion is not going to slow it down, I'm fine with that. But I wouldn't want to slow down dispersal of these funds, because I do think these programs are really, really important. But given what Mrs. Condra just said, I think I could retract my motion and we could revisit next month, as long as it's not going to slow down the implementation of this program.
Okay, because we could put the motion to a vote otherwise to see whether or not we're going to table it. But if you withdraw the motion, and who seconded the motion?
I had it, Dr. Johnson made the motion and Mr. Bott seconded, but.
Okay.
Apologies.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes,
thoughts?
I think it's important that we know what we're doing. And since there's not something that's needed right away, I'd like to withdraw mine.
Okay, what was the last sentence that you said?
I'll withdraw.
Okay, so the request or the motion and the second have formally been withdrawn, and we're going to table this until next month. Any other comments or questions? Anybody have any concerns? Ms. Joes?
I'm just concerned, hopefully tabling it does not affect the timeline of administering these funds. Is that going to be an issue, Ms. Condra?
At this point, based on my team, I know that they haven't, the contractor hasn't started getting any rebates back as of yet. So I don't think it would delay anything. And I agree that, was tabling this and just answering any questions so it can go through easily next month would be much, much better for the comfort of.
Okay, so procurement item number 6 is formally
Madam Chair.
tabled. Yes.
I actually had a question that if they're going to be looking at this, maybe check on this. My concern is the risk to MES if the feds withdraw the money at some point. If the agency approves these rebates to particular awardees, and then the money is pulled back, are we at risk?
So we're not at risk because we're getting cash advance, from MEA, I think it's every 2 months. So it's reoccurring, and so we're going to have the cash, and if the risk where, if they withdraw it, we will, then whatever we have in our allotment as cash, we will make sure those rebates go out. But it's not a risk to MES.
Okay, and I'll just point out, at the end of the remarks, there is a statement that the state is still awaiting full award approval from the Department of Energy. So to me, that says we have some time.
That was for last year.
That is still true, Mr. Coleman. You're correct that as of February 12th, the letter that we received, it still indicates that they are awaiting full approval of awards from Department of Energy.
Right.
Okay, any other questions or comments? So we're good on procurement item number 6. We look forward to seeing it again next month. Thank you for the robust discussion, everyone. Let's move on to procurement item number 7, Mr. Graham.
All right. This is from the Environmental Dredging and Restoration Group. Project name is Dundalk Marine Terminal and Hawkins Point Hazardous Waste Landfill Project. This is a change order. The original amount was $250,000. This is change order number 4. The amount is for $245,785.30. The revised total is going to be $943,857.90. The 0% city.
Is there a motion to move this item to the floor?
I move approval of item 7.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Is there a second?
I second.
Wonderful. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approval of number 7, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Let's move on to number 8.
Okay, number 8, this one is for the Environmental Dredging and Restoration Group. The project is a Cox Creek Dredge Material Containment Facility, Colgate Creek Dredge Material Hauling Project. The procurement method is going to be competitive sealed bid. The estimated cost is $4 million. And the MBE goal for this project is going to be 29%.
Is there a motion for number 8?
I move approval of item 8.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a few seconds. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous approval. Thank you. Mr. Graham, number 9.
All right. And the last one is going to be for the Technical and Environmental Services Group. The project is the Maryland Military Department Indoor Firing Range Lead Investment Abatement Phase 1. The procurement method is going to be the AE SBR shortlist. It's going to be awarded to Art Environmental LLC in the amount of $400,000, and the MBE goal is going to be 14.8%.
Is there a motion for procurement item number 9? Excuse me.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes have it. Thank you very much, Mr. Graham.
Well,
Next up on our agenda is we have procurement notifications. We do have 2 slides of procurement notifications. These are contracts, purchase orders, amendments, and change orders between the amounts of 25,000 and 200,000. If you'd like to take a moment to look through these items, feel free to offer any comments, questions, or suggestions. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate all the procurement information this month. Next up, we have the legal report offered by Ms. Carroll. Good morning, Ms. Carroll.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm not gonna be quite as brief this morning. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take the podium. Mr. Hart. This morning, I'm very happy to announce the promotion of Mr. Hartlock to Deputy Principal Counsel of Maryland Environmental Service. This promotion was effective as of February 4th. And many members of the board have heard from Mr. Hartlock before, but since he was you all were brought onto the board after he was hired, you may not know so much about his background. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Eric. Eric has a Bachelor of Arts in Administration of Justice from the Pennsylvania State University. He has a Master of Public Administration from the University of Baltimore. He has a Juris Doctor degree from the University of Baltimore School of Law. Eric's been a practicing attorney for more than 20 years with experience across both public sector and private practice. Prior to joining the Office of the Attorney General, he practiced for more than a decade in several law firms, practicing creditors' rights claims, commercial collections, construction claims, real estate disputes, and business litigation. He has extensive courtroom experience in Maryland and federal courts. He joined the Office of the Attorney General in 2020 during the middle of COVID. He's been dedicated to representing MES for more than 5.5 years, providing advice and representation across the full spectrum of MES's operations. He's gained deep institutional knowledge of MES's governance and its operations. He has extensive experience here at MES handling matters involving procurement, bid protests, contract negotiations and reviews, PIA compliance, debt collection, complex civil litigation, regulatory matters, and MES governance matters. Eric is a trusted advisor to MES executives and staff. He's known for providing timely, practical, business-informed, and solution-oriented legal advice aligned with the agency's mission. He provides mentorship and leadership within our OAG unit. He supports collaboration, professional development, and consistency in legal work product. Eric is widely respected for his professionalism, his sound judgment, and his commitment to protecting and advancing MES's interests. In his expanded role as a Deputy Principal Counsel, his duties will include serving as the lead counsel for MES on most procurement matters, including bid protests and pre-award and pre-bid advice that are critical to the agency's operations. He'll help supervise and coordinate litigation teams to continue to assist ensuring that there is consistent, high-quality legal work and timely responses in complex MES litigation matters. Eric also serves as an adjunct professor at Hood College. He teaches business and employment law. Eric's long been involved in community service and volunteer activities. He enjoys live music, enjoys the outdoors, and likes to bike, hike, snowboard, and disc golf. And he really enjoys Penn State football. I deeply appreciate everything that Eric brings to our office and everything that he does for our office. And I hope you have a chance to get to know Eric better and work with him for many years to come. So please congratulate Eric on this well-deserved promotion.
Congratulations. Thank you. Ms. Carroll, that was a lovely summary. So thank you very much.
Thank you. The only other thing I have is please remember to file your annual ethics disclosures with the State Ethics Commission and send Ms. Fuller a copy of that after you've done so.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just want to echo what Ms. Carroll says, having had the privilege to work with Eric, for several years. He is an excellent attorney and this is a well-deserved promotion for him.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, we're going to slide into our group updates section of our agenda. And I believe this morning we're starting with water, wastewater.
So we're gonna walk through a little bit today. We'll do it on that. You go back one slide. So, with the water wastewater group, we're going to kind of go through a little bit about our workforce pipeline development this morning. And one such instance that we have with Green Street Academy and a company called Blink. One of the most significant risks that we face in water and wastewater is having adequate staffing. There are only so many water and wastewater operators out there, more and more are retiring every day. There's not a lot of people coming into the industry, so MES is out there. We're fighting other agencies for a smaller and smaller workforce. So MES has taken an alternative approach. We're going for those experienced operators, but we're also bringing new people into the industry as well. But to do that, we need to do outreach. So we're out at community colleges, high schools, trade schools, making those connections. We're doing field trips, we're speaking to STEM classes, we're going to the job fairs and making those connections. And that's kind of where Blink comes in. Next slide, please. So Blink, as a workforce connector, they act as the glue for us. They go out and they find agencies, they find companies in various industries that have these openings that want to connect to students. And then they go on the other side and they find the students and make those connections. So had the opportunity to meet Mr. Alfred Ward from Blink. He also likes to go by Mr. Jobs. He's got it on all of his clothes, so it's hard to remember his real name sometimes. But he came out with his team. We did a tour of Dorsey Run, walked through the facility, kind of talked about what it takes to be an operator, what will make you successful in our apprenticeship program, and what we're looking for in those applicants. He then took that information, went back to Green Street Academy, spoke to their administrators, got them on board. They then presented that information to their students, and they whittled it down to about 15 or so that were really interested, and we set up a site visit from there. Next slide, please. So then again, those 15 students between Green Street and Blink, they brought them out to the site and we did a full guided facility tour from front to the back. We didn't hide anything from them. We showed them the not so glamorous things on the front end, and we showed them the amazing product that we're making on the back end, along with everything in between. We talked about the treatment processes that we use to protect public health and the environment, the physical, chemical, mechanical, electrical work that it takes to make that happen. And we walked through, we saw equipment that was working, we saw equipment that was offline being maintained. We talked about the day-to-day operations that it takes. And then at the end, we had a structured Q&A with our MES staff. So just didn't have them talking to me, I had them talking to our other frontline supervisors, I had them talking to other operators so they could get a full holistic view of what it takes to do this job. We talked about the daily tasks of operators, which is something we do on our school visits as well. We talked about the detailed intricacies of our water wastewater apprenticeship program, and then the different career pathways of where that could take them. So we didn't just focus on, here's the job we can give you today. We focused more on, here's the career that you can build by coming and joining us. Individually, these engagements are small in nature. We're talking 10 to 30 students at a time, but across the water and wastewater group, these are happening week after week, month after month. We're making these engagements. We're talking to different school systems. And over time, that really snowballs and it builds that pipeline for us. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. I know that that is nationwide an issue, water, wastewater operators and folks going into the program. So this sounds like a wonderful plan, you know, a glowing example of how we can get younger folks interested in water, wastewater. So we are going to be moving on to the Creek Nature Trail, and I believe Miss Osroff is here to speak with us today.
I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of the trail and where it is today. So the Swan Creek Nature Trail is located at the Forest Conservation Easement at the Cox Creek Dredge Material Containment Facility property. And it was brought forward by the Cox Creek Citizens Oversight Committee to the MPA on their prioritized list of community enhancements that were developed as a result of Cox Creek Expanded. The purpose of the trail is to have have access to green spaces for the surrounding communities to have activities like birding and hiking. The trail is planned to be a 2-mile loop throughout the forest conservation easement, and that's shown by the dotted line going through the green space there. And then the entrance to the trail is going to be down in the lower left-hand corner across the street from the location of the Cox Creek O&M building. The trail is going to be a natural soil base. It is ADA compliant, as well as it complies with the Forest Service standards for trails. Louder? Oh, even louder? Do you want me to go up there?
Yeah.
Better if I go up there?
The mics are.
Oh, the mic's right there.
If they're looking down and reading,
Oh,
got to project up to the green. I know. Being a teleprompter.
Next slide. So in the design of the trail, we included areas that will help people pass over low and wet areas. So there were 3 boardwalks included in the design and 1 pedestrian bridge. The boardwalks are designed to go over the wetland areas. They're supported every 10 feet by pilings. Then the pedestrian bridge is a prefabricated bridge that's 30 feet in length, and it's supported on either side. And it's going to go across the rock line swale that's located in that top portion of the trail right there. Next slide. So also included in the design are viewpoints, and the viewpoints are accessed via the trail. Viewpoint 1 is a high vantage point of the water. Viewpoint 2 is a low vantage point of the water. Viewpoint 3 is a vantage point of the shoreline. The trail spur includes a high vantage point where you can see the shoreline and the shore shack remnants along the trail. Next slide, please. So in coordination with MES and MPA educators, they designed 4 classrooms that have topics that are consistent with what folks will see as they access the trail. So classroom 1 is a Swan Creek wetland. It's located next to a non-tidal wetland that was delineated by the environmental group in that area. Classroom 2 is for the birds. You can see the birds out on the non-tidal wetland area. Classroom 3 is woodland animals, and classroom 4 is plant and tree life. They also requested that the seats be logs so that the teacher can move freely throughout the classroom area, as well as adjust the logs to be consistent, whatever the lesson plan is for that day. Next slide, please. So these are examples of the signage that will be along the trail for people to read and learn about what they're seeing and experiencing. The woodlands is obviously what's happening in the woods right there. The wetlands are what is a wetland as you're walking through. There's going to be some hazard signs, environmental hazards, like denoting there's poison ivy or ticks along the way. Also a couple of signs with the birds that use the forest conservation easement, amphibians, the tidal mitigation area, which is along the tidal area, 11.13 acres, located right next to the dredge material containment facility and along the trail. And then out in the water, there are reef balls that are habitat for fish that are also studied by the EDR environmental team. Then also there's going to be a sign on the shore shacks with a little bit of history on the shore shacks and how they were used for vacation homes in the mid-20th to late 20th century. Next slide, please. So where we are now, the project is currently out for bid and the bids are due on March 6th. They had the pre-bid meeting on the 23rd and the site visits on the 6th and the 13th of February. There are 2 time of year restrictions that are located on the property due to forest interior dwelling species as well as a black rail. Although U.S. Fish and Wildlife reported that the construction of the trail will not impact the breeding or nesting season of these birds, the state natural resource agencies wanted that included in the permitting for this project. So as a result, the team hopes to have notice, well, actually that time of year restriction is from April to August. So the team hopes to have the notice to proceed on August 1st so that the contractor can do work on the outside of where that time of year restriction is placed. And then at the end, September 1st, hopefully they can move right in and start work on the trail right there. And then the plan is to open to the public in 2027. That's it. Any questions?
It sounds like a nice place to have a site visit
I agree.
at some point.
I agree.
Excellent. Aesthetics of remediation, tollgate landfill, environmental operations.
Okay, so, over the last few months, I've, John will go up. But over the last few months, I've, used this opportunity to introduce the board to a number of our very talented, folks that work within our group. John Agnoli is no exception to that. He is the section chief for us, and runs our environmental monitoring group, at 26 landfills. John, is, got a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Geology from West Virginia, the proud mountaineer. He also has a Master's of Environmental Policy from Towson, and he's currently working on his Master of Public Administration from the Thundering Herd, Marshall. John is a recognized subject matter expert in the work that he does, and we're really proud to have him on our team. And John, take it away.
Okay. All right. I'll do it. All right, so I just wanted to go over kind of a cool project that we did at the Tollgate landfill in Bel Air, Maryland. So it's essentially the landfill has historically had chlorinated solvent issues from basically once it was closed in the late 80s. It started accepting waste in the 50s and was Carpet Town's primary landfill. So MES took over the project in 2015. With that, we inherited the recovery wells that were put in place for the pump and treat system, along with their landfill gas system. If you can see along that, there's an L-shaped line or an L-shaped curvature to there with the recovery wells for the pump and treat. What that would do is suck up the water and send it to a treatment plant to be treated and then discharged back to the surface of the area. Next slide, please. So right there's a photograph of the treatment system. So the water is going through activated carbon filter bags, an air stripper, and then the what's coming out of the air stripper is also sent through a carbon bed. So the pond is directly below that groundwater pump and treat system, and it's situated within the mom and pop trail and also by a dog park. So it's heavily used by the public, and what we were getting is some low-level VOCs that were popping up in it, causing concern with MDE. Slide, please. All right, so we had a few options going forward to remediate this issue. We could have sunk it in another recovery well. We could also put in a bubbler system in the pond. We could have lined the pond with polished carbon to absorb it. There was a couple other issues. A lot of them were more labor intensive than others. So what we kind of decided with MDE and got their permission for this is using a fountain system to bring aesthetics to the park along with remediation. So what we ended up putting in is this
small fountain, using the, electricity that was already in the area, a small fountain, and ran it to the middle, just for labor purposes and the beauty of it. Next slide, please. So the reasoning for the fountain was, like I said, just the ease of labor. For this particular fountain, it's bottom fed, so it's getting the chlorinated solvents from the bottom, which are dense, non-ambiguous phase liquids, so they settle down towards the bottom. So what that does is it pulls it up and sprays it, volatilizes in the air, and removes it from the water and passing back into the groundwater of the state and causing more issues in the down gradient park and agriculture center that's right next door. And also, you know, prevent just kind of secondary things, prevents algae blooms in the summer and prevents ice buildup, which helps release more of the volatile compounds coming out. Next slide, please. So when the system was put in 2018, you can see that there was a spike in total chlorinated solvents, and afterwards, after 2018 to present, we're back down to about 0. Every now and then we'll have rebound, but the all the standards have been met. MDE has shown pleasure in that, so I think we got good science moving forward. Next slide. So this is the really cool part about it, and since it's a fountain, it's nice looking. There's multiple affordable options to make this thing even prettier and make it a focal point of a landfill instead of something that's you know, kind of clunky and big and scary. It's something that people like would want to come see. So in my world, most of the stuff that remediates gas or VOCs is not pretty. So we're looking forward to MDE's further final approval on this remediation technology, which I see coming here in the pretty close future. And next slide. You guys have any questions? Yeah. No. Okay.
And last but not least, we started the meeting in the test department and we're going to end in the test department. Mr. Alex Hancock is here to discuss SHA emergency response and drainage remediation. Good morning.
So I just wanted to introduce Alex. So he's been a dedicated member of MES for more than 11 years. He spent his entire career in tests. He began as an environmental specialist in the PWI field office and has steadily advanced into his current role as Assistant Environmental Section Chief. In his capacity, Alex oversees the recently established team responsible for managing the majority of our projects with the State Highway Administration. The team's portfolio encompasses a broad range of work, including environmental compliance and roadway assessment initiatives. Among these efforts, the most significant is the Emergency Stormwater Drainage Remediation Program, which he'll be highlighting in this presentation today. So take it away, Alex.
Thank you, Winsome. Morning, everyone. So yeah, as said, I will be highlighting our emergency response and drainage remediation project. And while it's one that has kind of been a project we've been working on for quite some time here, it has really kind of taken off in the past few years, which is why I wanted to highlight it today. So just for people unaware of the project and kind of what we do, basically SHA identifies specific sites that are some sort of drainage emergency, like a slope failure or collapsed stormwater pipe, something along SHA-owned roadways, and informs MES, lets us know. We kind of work together with SHA and their engineering teams internally to determine a scope and create design plans. And then we work to assign a contractor for the work to get out there and actually make the repairs. So obviously it's sounds kind of simple with the steps, but it is, can be quite complex, which is why we're involved to help facilitate the process and make sure it gets done as quickly as possible. So just as a general overview, we have, since January 2025, we've completed 11 different projects. And as you can see, based on the estimates and the actual costs, we have remained under budget by 900,000. And that's just, part of the efforts from our team and our quality contractors to make sure we're getting these things done efficiently and under budget. And looking ahead, we have, I said 10 additional sites. We actually added another site just earlier this week. So 11 additional sites that we intend to complete by the end of FY26. And looking ahead for 27, there will be 7 projects that are currently in development. Next slide. So one of the big changes that we had in this past year was our introduction of the statewide repairs. So initially we were focused more in the metropolitan area, but we actually expanded our coverage and went statewide to districts 1 and 2 and 6. To clarify on the districts, if you're not familiar with SHA's naming system, districts 1 and 2 are on the Eastern Shore, and District 6 covers Western Maryland. So within districts 1 and 2, we really hit the ground running there and completed 6 emergency drainage repairs and utilizing our contractor Bramble. One of those sites that we worked on is the first picture up top, and I believe that was Tolchester Road in lovely Kent County. And and then we have some additional 3 sites are kind of in development currently, and we're working towards having those done in FY26. And then out in Western Maryland, we have 2 sites. Fortunately, there weren't as many emergencies in the area until they had those terrible rainstorms last spring, which then kind of jump-started our emergency response out west. And so one of those projects being the bottom picture, which is a slope failure. Well, it's a kind of a slope buildup of sediment that actually was washing out into the road, which is Maryland 135 down there. And so we're sending a contractor in to clean that up and remediate it so we aren't seeing additional washouts on the road. Next slide. All right, and then I just wanted to highlight some of our, higher profile sites that we worked on. One of those being US 1 bypass, which if anybody lives in the Bel Air area, it was quite a high priority. And if you hadn't heard of it, you were probably sitting in the traffic at some point last summer. And so that kind of brought it as a high priority situation where we had a failed stormwater pipe in the median, and they wanted us to address that quickly because the failure was causing a sinkhole, which was undermining the road. So we got a contractor out there, DXI, to complete the work. We wrapped it up just within 2 weeks and just in time before school opened, which was a big push for SHA, and we remained under budget on that project. And then another one, US 1 at Whiskey Bottom, that was down more in the in Laurel, and it was a failed stormwater pipe in the travel lanes. You can see the large steel plates. It was something that we noticed that we'd kind of been watching closely for SHA, and you can see where there was additional expansion of that sinkhole under the plates there, and it was a cause for serious concern, which prompted us to respond very quickly to this one and get started. It was completed in multiple phases, but a major portion of the repair was just completed in 2 weekends on 24-hour shifts. So the project was under budget. We ran into being an older section of road. There was a few surprises, random concrete collars and such that came out of nowhere that we didn't expect to be there, but the contractor took care of it quickly, and we were able to knock it out once again under budget and on time. And then lastly, kind of a favorite one for me right here, just because this happened just last week. It was a slope failure due to kind of concentrated flow and all the snow melt we have recently seen. Snow is finally melting. And definitely a high priority site because it was drawn to SHA's attention through social media. You can see the top picture. It's was definitely in bad shape and already approaching the travel lane there. So we reached out to our contractor, AP Construction. They were, we were notified of it on Tuesday afternoon. We got them out there first thing on Wednesday to complete the temporary repair, and we were done by the end of the week on the 19th. So it was a fast one, and we're happy to see that done and didn't have any major interference with the traveling public. And then, while a lot of our stuff focuses on emergency response with drainage remediation, there is also some additional response we provide for SHA just to help out in any other environmental processes that we can. This is just to highlight a few of them. Of course, everybody was aware of the Baltimore fuel spill that occurred. SHA reached out to us to prompt a response to resolve that issue and get some contractor out there to address that. One of the other ones was our 95 Welcome Center sanitary overflow that happened in July. Of course, it was right before 4th of July weekend. So there was a quick response that they expected from us to address that and deal with the overflow. And that's the top picture dealing with that. And I'll even say I was personally out there to oversee the cleanup and actually went in and handled some CCTV efforts once we did the initial cleaning for that project. And then lastly, one of our active projects is Maryland 177 Mountain Road, which was just an unlawful sewer discharge connection. So a storm drain was mistakenly connected to a sewer line, and we are working with Anne Arundel County to address that issue. So yeah, that's really kind of focus. We're hoping to see continued growth under this project, and we're looking forward to finding other opportunities in which we can support SHA and provide more environmental support.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock. I'm sitting here while you were presenting and I'm thinking, so many of us just take for granted that there is an area that needs work, stormwater or otherwise, and poof, contractor appears on site and fixes it. And so it's really interesting to hear the backside of how that works. Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions? Okay, well, we are wrapping it up for the day. Is there any old or new business? And we can take both at once.
Madam Chair, I would like to answer the question on our financial statements raised by Sean, so everybody is aware of it.
Yes, Mr. Patel.
So this notes receivable is a unique thing. The first time that's why you didn't see it before. MES purchased a compactor for Midshore, and it will be paid over 3 years. So that way, Midshore does not use its cash. Okay. Since the financial statements are separate for MES and Midshore, it shows as receivables for MES and payables for Midshore.
Okay.
So it's just one purchase of one compact.
Appreciate it.
Makes sense. Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Midshore, we are.
Okay, any other items for consideration or discussion? Hearing none, I look forward to seeing all of you on March 26th, 2026. I'm liking these dates that we've had for this meeting and next meeting at 9:30 a.m. Thank you all for joining us today. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No opposition on that one. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I didn't just that we are deciding
Easier. Present, he's the one to present.
Try to drink 110 ounces.
And then it has to-
I don't have that gallon, but.